There's a lot of benzo groups emerging now, coalitions and whatnot, that are advocating for change, change in protocol, reasons for prescriptions, durations of prescriptions, dosage of prescriptions. Dosages that are too high. They're advocating for, among probably the top of the list, is taper protocols. Right? We're tired of being forced to taper so quickly. With doctors are not going to work with us. They're not going to work with the compound pharmacy. They're not going to give us Valium. They're not going to allow us to slow, steady taper. They just want to rip us off this drug. And then when things get too heavy and we're having all these symptoms and we can't handle it, then they go, oh, it's in your head. It's you. It's pre-existing. This has to change. And this is typically I'd say 90% of the battle goes on in that area alone. So what I want to talk about is how do we actually get benzo laws changed, right? Because so often we see people come together, but we don't have a direction. We're just sort of complaining and we got to get things to change. And while coming together is good, because that in itself is evidence that, look, there's a phenomenon here. There's a problem here. Look at all these people. There's 50,000 members in this group, and they're all saying the same thing. But you have to be able to then sort of use that in the right way and provide that information to the right people through the right channels. That's how you facilitate change. In itself, an isolated pocket of evidence is not enough. So we're strength in numbers. So, of course, these groups are good in that. It's bringing us together. We're able to see, wow, there's a lot of members here, a lot of people. Look at these reports. I mean, there's too much being said in these groups about post-taper withdrawal, for example, that should not be denied. This is a real phenomenon here. So strength in numbers. And so it's not just the groups, it's surveys. It's collecting data. Data is wonderful, And at first it could be surveys. It could be these groups. Post-withdrawal taper, these are the things that we want changes in. So these are the things that we need to focus on getting surveys in. Now, how do we get surveys? Now, this brings me to my second point on this topic, because I don't see any surveys. I've never filled out a survey. Have you? So what's a survey? Survey would be like something like you approach a researcher, maybe a student at a university, or just any kind of researcher. It doesn't have to be a student. There's researchers in the benzo field. And what we need to do is have more data collected. Surveys, questionnaires, inventories. We have like the Beck's anxiety inventory and depression inventory. I'm not completely sure, even at this point, if we have, to what degree we have any good benzo withdrawal inventories. They certainly should exist. I mean, I hope somebody's working on that. But in the meantime, what we can do is at least provide enough evidence that there's a phenomenon here going on with the taper. And so we appeal to these students, these researchers, and we try to get the research done. So strengthen numbers, get some surveys, questionnaires, inventories, assessments, or whatever it is. We're in conjunction with these is going to be mostly on the backs of the researchers. Then we compile enough of this evidence, and then we create our protocol demands. We say, here's the evidence. Now we got a lot of evidence to show that there's a phenomenon here. It's peer reviewed, so to speak, or maybe directly peer reviewed, but there's evidence here coming from research. Now, what do we want to do with this evidence? We want to create protocol demands. What kind of protocol demands? We want to change the reasons why people are getting on this drug. I mean, if you're going through a life crisis, a situational distress, maybe you shouldn't be on a benzo, and you certainly shouldn't be on it for life, which brings me to my second point of the protocol. We need duration changes. Benzos are wonderful drugs. Hear me. They are wonderful drugs if taken in short dosages. You have a phobia, you're afraid to fly, go over a bridge, some kind of crisis going on. Yeah, you take a benzo for a couple weeks, it's great. You take it for one day, great. You having sleep problems, you take it, for a couple of days, your sleep gets back on its normal cycle. You come off the benzo, fine. That's great. It's the duration. It's people taking it 2+ years, 10 years, 20 years. It's these things are changing by the way, anyway. We just need to help facilitate this. We need to help speed this up. What else? Compile evidence, reason. Dose. Again, I'm tired of hearing dosages going up to 8 milligrams of Xanax or something. It is unbelievable. This is like insane dosages. I mean, and this is just a lazy psychiatrist who, when the drug, as a person's building a tolerance to it, they just keep going, take it more. Here's more. Here's more. That's a lazy ass way of going about it, to just tell your client or your patient to just take more of the drug. It's just lazy. There's no other way to say it. It's lazy, and that has to change. And of course, the taper protocol, which we've we've hammered a million times, all of us. That needs to change. No more ripping people off the benzos too quick, nor letting them stay on the benzo for 5-6 years in hell, which is causing them more problems. Or nor giving them 3 benzos. I mean, how often do we hear I take a Valium or Klonopin in the morning, and then if I have a breakthrough panic attack, I need something for breakthrough anxiety, we give them a Xanax, and then of course when they need to sleep, maybe we give them an Ativan. 3 benzos? Are you kidding me? This is insane. This has to change. So we create protocol demands for the reason, the duration, the dose, and the taper. All right. Again, we're strength in numbers, guys, and that part we're already doing that. We are coming together. We just don't know where to go with it. What do we do? How do we do it? We have great benzo groups and coalitions that are out there that are trying to facilitate these things. So this is just some direction. We need to reach out to, again, some researchers. We need to get the evidence. We need to clearly outline our demands of what we want to see change. And then from there, we start approaching governing bodies, the American Medical Association, American Psychiatric Association, National Institute of Health, etc. We start coming to these people, whether it means going to Capitol Hill, and we say, we want changes. Here's the evidence. Here's what we want. And we fight that fight. That's how we get change. Hey everyone, thanks for watching and listening. Please click the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the content. And be sure to check out my book on Amazon, The Powers Manual, Benzo Guide to Recovery.